Before we talk to Charlie Ray about that, let's remind ourselves of what we're going to hear in one of these tell-all interviews to promote his new book.
Never needed to be this way. The leaking and the planting. I want a family, not an institution. They feel as though it's better to keep us somehow as the villains. They've shown absolutely no willingness to reconcile. I would like to get my father back. I would like to have my brother back.
Now, Charlie Ray, former royal editor at the Sun newspaper. I'm going to say to you what I said to Rupert Bell yesterday, Charlie. I am not a family therapist. I am not a psychologist. I have no counselling qualifications. However, I'm not sure that giving an interview to two various news channels slagging off your father and your brother and writing a memoir slagging off your father and your brother after having produced a 6-part series for Netflix slagging off your father and your brother is the way to get back your father and your brother. Am I wrong?
No, you're absolutely not wrong. And I saw that interview you did with Rupert yesterday, and I totally agree with Rupert on everything. Look, you've just pointed out he's practically on the front page of every newspaper that we have in this country. Now, this is a guy who took his wife away to go and live abroad because they wanted to be out of the media spotlight. Now, it's not the papers that are putting him in the media spotlight. He's putting himself in the media spotlight with an Oprah Winfrey interview where he accused a senior member of the royal family of being racist. He's then done this awful, well, I think it was awful, Netflix scenario where he calls his father a liar and he has a go at his brother, saying he's screamed and shouted at him at a summit. He's now got this book Spare, which he's touting around, and he's ludicrously saying, I want my father and I want my brother back. Well, this is a strange way of going about it. It really is amazing. I don't know what's going on in his mind at all with all this, but surely he must know that if he wants to have a reconciliation with his father and his brother, this is not the way of doing it.
I can't help feeling after seeing some of the clips of this that he doesn't want that at all. What he wants is the American television and media market to lap up this story. That's what I feel that he wants. I want a family, not an institution. Well, anyone in the UK would roll their eyes and say, well, do you not know what royalty is actually about? But anyone in America might listen to that and think, oh, the poor guy who don't perhaps grasp what royalty about him trying to court the American market.
I can guarantee, Cristo, that as soon as we finish this conversation, I will have my Twitter feed loaded up with loads of Americans who will be calling me all sorts of names, which, water off a duck's back, I couldn't care less, because I have dared criticise Harry and Meghan. And yes, you're right, I think there is a market out there, although I suspect from what I'm hearing from certain American people as well, that they're starting to get a bit fed up with this constant moaning. Remember, this is a guy who complained because his police protection was taken away. He was living in America. That police protection is paid for by people like you, me, the viewers and the readers of our media, not him.
No, I take issue with that. I actually disagree that his police protection was taken away, and I think it was an unwise move, because wherever he goes, whatever he does, whether he's royal or not, he will always be the son of the king, the grandson of the Queen, who served in Afghanistan, who did tours of Afghanistan on behalf of the United Kingdom. So I think from that respect, he is always going to be a target, whether he is within the royal realms or not. But secondly, from a PR perspective, it just fed into his narrative as well. So I don't think it was particularly wise from that perspective either.
I don't think if you were going to ask taxpayers in this country whether they should have been paying for Harry's security, I don't think you'll find many people who would be up.
Yeah, and I'd respectfully disagree with them on that. I even think Prince Andrew deserves security paid for. I don't like him very much. I think he's as thick as two short planks, but he's always going to be the brother of a king and the son of the late Queen, and that makes him a target.
Harry has got gun guards in America. The only difference is you and I aren't paying for it. He's paying for it.
But don't you think it justifies the argument, Charlie, that he says then, well, look, I have to do all of this content for Netflix. I've got to write this book because security to keep my family safe costs $100,000 a week, $200,000 a week. So without these funds, I have to do this. So I think it's somewhat played into his hands.
Drop in the ocean for what he's got in his bank account and from what he's earning. He's earning a shed load of money. Look, I've never had a problem with Harry earning his money or Meghan earning her money as well. It's just the way they're going about it. They just seem to be a constant stream of criticising not only the royal family, but Britain itself.
Well, we're racist. We're a terrible empire-loving, racist country that voted for Brexit based on horrific racism and xenophobia, which their documentary outlined, and all of that fed into the horrific abuse that Meghan got. That was essentially what they put forward in their documentary. Yet, funnily enough, as I pointed out to Rupert yesterday, and I'll point out to you as well, that terrible empire that Harry hates so much, that he thinks is so damaging and racist, I think he benefited to it to the tune of about £22 million from both his mother and his great-grandmother's estate.
Yeah, he got half of the 17 million that was the money that Diana got from her divorce settlement. I'm sure there was a few more pounds there, and he also got a settlement from the late Queen Mother as well. So
what was that, about 12, 13 million?
Something I'm not sure if it reached 10 million, but it certainly was a sizable chunk, and it was determined to give him the money because he was the spare. William didn't get that much from the Queen Mother.
She left proportionately more to Harry. You're quite right, because she said he'll always have a harder life. He'll never have he'll never earn what his brother earned or have the money his brother has through the duchy and all of those sorts of things. Sure. So therefore, I'll leave him that. But that, of course, is the terrible money that has come from the royal coffers. So if royalty is so bad, why has he kept that money?
He's earned an awful lot of money as a result of being a senior royal. And I've said this to you before, Harry and Meghan were destined to become a cornerstone of the new king's slimmed down monarchy. They were fated in this country by the people and were welcomed by the monarchy. Forget about all these people who keep on saying that it was racist what they happened to them and everything else. Not so. It only turned sour when they decided to up sticks and go back. Look, this country is not a racist country. Yes, we have racists in this country. There's no doubt about that. But every time they raise their head, their ugly heads above the parapet, they're shut down. Now, they go and live in a country where racism is still surviving in a great many states there.
Well, it does seem an odd place to move. If you're worried about racism, to move to America, where they arguably have a far greater racism problem than they do here in the UK. We're going to keep you over the break, if that's all right, Charlie, because I do want to know from you, and we'll see what the listeners have to say about that. What gripes of Harry and Meghan, and I'm going to give you the break to think about this because you might need it, what gripes that Harry and Meghan have you actually agree that they have a fair point on? I want to know what you think that they're saying that is actually fair, because I'm sure you think some of it is. I do, but I'm not sure it is to the extent that they make out. So when we come back, we'll discuss that. I still want to hear from you as well. 0344 499 1000. Is there a way back for Prince Harry? Do you believe he can ever get his father and his brother back? Well, could he ever come back here and be welcomed as a member of the royal family? I'd love to know whether you think that would be possible. All live from the Talk Radio studio. This is Talk TV. Afternoon, Cristo here on Talk TV. Thanks so much for your company. By the way, I don't know if we've still got the photo on the system. I forgot to ask you that. My photo from yesterday. Do you know which one I'm talking about? Harry and a certain pop star. Yeah. I might show that to Charlie Ray because I'm convinced they're the same person. Charlie Ray joins me, former royal editor of The Sun, to discuss Harry's gripes. Have we got the photo? Now, Charlie, hello once again.
Hello.
Are you aware of who Sam Ryder is?
Yeah, of course.
What do you think?
I don't live in a bubble, Cristo.
I'm just checking.
Have they ever seen in the same room together?
That's what I'm thinking. And where is that blonde wig? Because I am sure, because Sam Ryder is such a ball of positivity and Harry is such a moaning Minnie about everything now, I wonder whether he has had to become the alter ego Sam Ryder in order just to be happy.
It could well be. It wouldn't go far wrong because Sam Ryder does make people happy.
He does.
And, yeah.
And maybe that's the only way that Harry can project. Now, we have spoken, you and I, about the gripes that he has. Yeah. What is frustrating to me is that actually there are a few things that they are annoyed about that we saw in their documentary and everywhere else that I think they've actually got a fair point. I'm not sure I would say it's as catastrophic as they made out, but there were a couple of things I nodded away and went, oh, gee, that's fair. One of them we've already discussed. I think that it was mean-spirited and not particularly prudent for the palace to remove his royal protection. I know you disagree on that. But were there any other aspects of their documentaries and their interviews that you've watched where you thought, OK, actually, I think that's a fair point?
I think one of the main points that they have got is the abuse that they have received, particularly Meghan, on social media, on Twitter, and the others, Instagram and so forth. I mean, I think some of the things that were said on social media about her in particular were appalling. There is no question about that. But the problem is anybody who's on social media on Twitter will get a bucket load because lots of people may not agree with a point of view. I'm sure I'm going to get it as soon as we come off here, and you'll be tagged in. You'll be tagged in that as well. I also think he has had a point as well about some newspaper articles that did crop out. I mean, the one that sticks out is the Daily Mail's Straight Outta Compton, and they were trying to associate Meghan and her mother Doria with Compton. Now, Doria lives 14 miles away in Cranshaw. For the Daily Mail to suggest that they come from the rough area, the wrong side of the tracks. I think what they were trying to do was, here we have the pauper and the prince scenario, which failed miserably. But was it racist? I'm not sure it was.
I think in fairness, it had some. Probably unintended, but I think it had some racist undertones because Compton being a predominantly black area that was quite crime-ridden, she's mixed race, so therefore she's got to be from there. I think that was very misjudged, and I think that was a fair point. And I think as well, even though it was actually a positive article about her, Rachel Johnson's exotic skin or exotic look or whatever she wrote, again, racially insensitive, I'd call that. I don't think that was particularly helpful. But funny enough, in there, whilst I actually agree with them that none of that was particularly nice or particularly well judged and wrong, they didn't actually offer anything new. They didn't say, well, look, actually, we've also got these articles. Those are always the two articles that are quoted that were and the vast majority of articles that they showed in their Netflix documentary, most of those were magazines or newspapers that came from America. Yeah, that was their basis. So this continual attack on the press. Look, I'm not going to sort of say that the press is shining and whiter than white. It's not. But when things we get wrong, we get them wrong, and we try to apologise for them. There is no doubt about that. I mean, there's legions of times that we've got things wrong and we've said sorry about it. I mean, Harry's been in the public eye practically since the day he was born. And people keep referring to the fact, oh, yes, he was very young when he lost his mother. Well, hang on a minute. William lost his mother as well at a very, very sensitive age. He was only 15. So the two of them lost their mother. Not just Harry. I mean, William seems to have been able to not forget about it's not the right word, but cope with the aftermath of his mother's death. Harry, to me, seems to be bringing this up all the time. And someone mentioned something to me the other day that he's chosen to do this interview with Anderson Cooper at CBS. Now, CBS was the only organisation that showed a dying Princess of Wales in that car crash. The only organisation in the world that showed those pictures. And let's not forget, of course, Netflix not only did they show clips of the Panorama interview, which William stated that he never wanted seen again, did their documentary show those clips of Diana, but they also, he is working for a company that is not only reenacting the Panorama interview in The Crown, but it's also reenacting the moments of her death and her lying in state in a coffin in the next series of The Crown as well. So there is a big dose of hypocrisy going on there.
Huge amount of hypocrisy from
I think he had a fair point as well when he spoke about the intrusion into his private life when he was dating someone as well. That was another aspect of trying to date Meghan and trying to date previous women that he'd had a terrible time trying to keep secret from the press. I had some sympathy with him over that. I thought that was a fair point too.
Well, he is a celebrity, and you know what it's like. We have a celebrity culture, and no matter what a celebrity does, it tends to be news. Harry's also used, the media for himself, for his charities, which I've got no argument with. We've helped promote those charities. It's helped deliver an awful lot of money to those charities. So it just seems to be, you see, the media is like a tap, but you can't turn it off. Once you dance with the devil, really, you're in a way going to be beholden to the media all the way through.
What do you think going forward is going to happen as a result of this? I spoke yesterday to Rupert about how what Harry's actually very skillfully done is he's put the palace in a position where they're damned if they do and they're damned if they don't. They invite Meghan and Harry to things, well, that's more fodder for their documentaries, and they might find private conversations in the public eye. If they don't invite them, it plays into the narrative that they're being excluded and that the palace is racist and is evil towards them. So the palace is in a difficult position now, right?
It is in a difficult position. I still believe that despite what's going to be in this book, that they will both be invited to the coronation. Now,
why would they want to go?
Well, exactly. I'm not sure whether they will want to go to the coronation, but it just is another example that the royal family is showing willingness, to bring them into the family to help, and they're the ones who keep on rejecting it. The problem they've got is that on the day of the coronation, it's the birthday of young Archie. Now, are they going to bring Archie over here, or are they going to stay with Archie, or are they going to come with the whole family? This is a big event.
Whole family. Whole family. Let's not forget, Samantha Markle and her niece were both ditched when it came to the convenience of their wedding, and so I'm not sure you'll find the whole family. But listen, Charlie Ray, thank you very much indeed for talking to us, former royal editor at The Sun newspaper. Is there a way back?